Okay. So I do believe we are ready to get started, and I want to welcome everyone, as always, to our 1 Million Cups Union group. And for those of you who braved the cold to get up early and get here, we're very grateful for that. And as always, with 1 Million Cups, I want to say that we are very grateful again, both to Kean University and to the Barnes & Noble store for being the hosts of this local group. As you know, we were the first of the 1 Million Cups groups that nationwide to be here in New Jersey. My understanding is that soon there'll be a second down in South Jersey in the Moorestown area. And this morning, we're very grateful to have a presenter who has a very unique and compelling background and story to tell and share with us. Taneice Chavers, is it Chavers or
Chavers?
Chavers, is going to talk to us about her work and her book and her writing, particularly in the context of entrepreneurs, how you can start and be successful, the skills and competencies that you need to succeed, and how you can do this with no money. Is that what I understand? No money. I'm particularly interested in that, and I know my students in entrepreneurship will be interested as well. So with that, I want to introduce to you Taneice Chavers.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank everybody for coming. I'm really excited to be here because, as I indicated earlier, I'm an alumni of Kean. So I graduated in 2006 with a degree in business management with the intent to open my own business. So I finally, fast forwarded to that point in my life where I was able to open up a business, and I've been successfully open for 3 years now. So I'm here to talk about my business. I'm going to talk to you about my book, and so you know why I wrote the book in the first place. I have a salon and spa in West Orange. It's called Sheer Bliss Hair Lounge and Spa. It services everybody, but it caters to women who suffer from cancer, lupus, alopecia, or some form of traumatic hair loss. I initially had the intent to open a salon, or Massage Envy actually. And way back when I first got started with the concept, there was no Massage Envy available in the state of New Jersey. They had all been sold out. So I went back to the drawing board to figure out what other type of salon or type of spa setting that I could do that maybe wasn't a franchise that I would create it on my own. But in the midst of me planning that out, I actually experienced some hair loss. I went to someone to color my hair. They lightened me too many times in one sitting, and then 4 months later when I went to get a relaxer, all my hair fell out down to my new growth. So I had about maybe an inch of hair, and I was really devastated. I went to go look at other salons that could kind of help me figure out how to grow my hair back, what should I do, I didn't know what went wrong at that time, but there was no salon that was talking about hair growth, how to grow your hair, how to help you if you lost your hair, and there was nothing like that. So that's how I figured out that's the business that I wanted to open, a salon that catered to people. Also, when I went to these salons, they were all out in the open, so everybody could see what I was dealing with and going through. And sometimes when you go into a salon setting and you're the only person with short hair, or you have spots thinning or bald spots, people look at you funny and it's a little judgmental. So I said, I'm going to open up a salon that caters to this, and I'm going to do it so that people can feel comfortable, they can be happy about their hair, we can give them a solution to their hair loss, and then they can continue to come back and have a place where they can feel good. So once I started doing the research on hair loss, that's when I found out that people lose their hair for plenty of other reasons. It's not just from a chemical, it's also from an illness such as cancer, lupus, and then there's a such thing called alopecia, which is the technical term for hair loss. A lot of people don't understand that hair loss is a common thing in women especially, but it's also in men as well. For men it's called like male pattern baldness. That's like the most common thing. But there wasn't places at that time that was catering to those types of individuals. So I started with my business plan and I started working on it, but of course I didn't have the money to get started. I don't come from a family of wealth or with money, so I didn't have anyone to kind of give me any money, to loan me any money. At that time, I was still in college. I was, working on things, and I didn't have any savings. My credit wasn't great, so it was really difficult. It took me ultimately 8 years to open up my business, but I still did it and I stayed steadfast with it. I went through a lot of things in those 8 years between, people not supporting my vision, not understanding what I was doing, to trying to secure investors and then having issues with them backing out at the last minute. I did 2 crowdfunding campaigns. One was with Kiva Zip and the other one was with Indiegogo.com. I got affiliated with non-profit organizations that were non-conventional lenders because I couldn't get a loan from a bank or, you know, the regular places that you go to. I couldn't get a credit card or anything like that. So I linked up with some non-conventional places. The main place that helped me the most, the main organization, is called Rising Tide Capital. They are a nonprofit organization based out of Jersey City. But when I went to them, I took their course, their business course in business, and I told them about what I was trying to do, and they linked me up with some other people who could give me funding. One of those places is called the Intersect Fund. The Intersect Fund gave me my first loan, which was up really like $7,500, and that kind of got the ball rolling for me. But it still took a long time because I still didn't have all the money. At the time, my concept was huge. I was looking at the big picture of what I wanted to do. So it was like $100,000 and up for me to get started in my business, and I could not secure that funding. I linked up with a partner who had a cosmetology license already, who was a stylist and had clientele for years. She had actually started doing my hair when I first started getting my hair done. Me and her worked together for about 2 years. At that time, I was unemployed. She was working for the state, and when she was laid off, and then when she got her job back, she didn't want to leave that security. So I was back on my own again. To make a long story short, like I said, it took 8 years. But finally, I did get it done. I got to a point where I said, I don't care if I don't have all the money. If I can't start it all at one time, I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to build myself up. So in 2015, towards the end of 2015, I signed a lease in West Orange, New Jersey, and that's where Sheer Bliss Hair Learning Spa is located today. Ever since I opened my business, I thought that once I opened it, I was clear. You know, I thought that I had finally made it, I was going to be okay. But what I realized is when you get to new levels, you have new devils. And so even after I opened, I started experiencing things like just having a hard time with staff, having a hard time getting all the supplies that I needed, trying to secure clientele. I had people who tried to attack my business as far as get me to shut down because they saw me as competition. And they came in and, you know, tried to go right under me and take my staff members and things like that. So I experienced a lot of things during this time frame of opening my business and then getting it open. I have a cosmetology license that I got from Empire Beauty School. I have a real estate license. I didn't mention that I'm also a real estate investor aside from the business owner. So a lot of things have happened in my short period of time. After I got my business open and it was started to make a profit and it was flourishing and doing very well, then I started to go into the real estate portion of what I wanted to do, because I always wanted to own or develop real estate. But I decided that I was going to start with investing in real estate. And I closed on my first property in this past June. I'm sorry, June of last year. I closed on my first investment property, a 3-family house in North. Even that was a very, very hard process. It took a very long time to get it done. Again, I was dealing with a credit score that wasn't really great. I had experienced a bankruptcy a couple years ago as well, so that was a factor in it all. But all in all, what I've realized is that if there is no struggle, there is no ultimate triumph from what you're doing. I've used everything that I've done and every barrier, every obstacle, and everything that I've gone through to propel myself to do more, to do better. And I've never allowed it to stop me or hinder my growth. I've figured out ways to make money and to build my business up successfully without the money that I needed. So I did a lot of different things with utilizing all the things that were free to business owners that a lot of people don't know about and don't do. And that was part of the reason why my salon grew to be successful as it is today. I also made sure that I had a business plan, because that was really important in the beginning. A lot of people did not take me seriously when I went to them to tell them what my concept was. And then they would ask me if I had a business plan, and once I said yes, they were surprised, like, oh, you do? Yes, I do. I do have a business plan. I thought this out. I spent a lot of those 8 years preparing because I knew it was coming one way or the other. It was just gonna take me a little longer, but I knew it was coming. So I made sure that I prepared for that. I had a business plan in place. I had thought out all the ways that I could do free advertisement and get funding at a low cost with that didn't go by my credit score, all these non-conventional places. I talk a lot about this stuff in the book. So after I did my real estate investment property that I closed on, after my salon had been open for about 3 years, I decided that I was gonna write a book. And I did. The book is called Pray for Rain. It's a guide to building your business with little to no money. The reason why I wrote this book is because, as I said, I went through a lot of different hiccups and obstacles in this whole process of getting my business open and off the ground. And I feel as though there's so many people out there who want to own a business, who want to start a business, and they're in the same boat as I am. They didn't have the money, they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the funding. I experienced lack of support when I was opening my business. Most of the people that came to my salon initially were not family members and friends, even to this day. A lot of them are not related to me. They don't know me on a personal level. And that made me very frustrated, that the people that knew me, that I grew up around, that knew about my grind and everything that I did to get my business open still would not support me once I got open. So I talk about all of these things in the business, and in the book, I talk about all these things to kind of show people that these are the things that you're going to experience. You're going to go through stuff where you're not going to be supported. You're going to have a hard time. People are going to attack you. It's going to come from all different angles, and you have to know how to continue on, how to have faith, and continue to stay prayed up. That was a big thing for me. I spent a lot of time in prayer, a lot of time focusing on what I wanted to do and not allowing anybody to hinder my growth. So I have a book here. The book is called Pray for Rain again. Also with the book, I have inspirational mugs that go with the book. And the reason why is because I feel as though, people need that everyday inspiration. Even today, when I get up some mornings, I feel better than other days, because every day is an up and down slope in business. Some days are great, some days you feel like you're crushing it, and some days you feel like, things could always be better. So the inspirational mugs are to kind of keep people motivated, to push them, to propel them to not lose focus on what they're doing. And I have a website. It's called TaneiceChavers.com. You can purchase the book off of their website and the mugs. I'm currently on the book tour right now, where I'm going around doing this speaking engagements, talking about the book, talking about my business, answering questions, and now I'm moving into a motivational speaker role as I continue on this journey in this life. So I want to thank you guys for listening to me today, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have or talk to you guys about whatever it is that you want to talk about.
Thank you. So, questions? Yeah.
Do you have a business card of your salon, or it's in
Of the salon, I don't have any left. I'm sorry.
It's in the book. Is the name?
The name is in the book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But it's SheerBlissHairandSpa.com. We're on Yelp. You Google hair loss salon, we'll come up.
Okay.
Yeah, I know rain is normally affiliated as a metaphor for something that's not going so well. So why are we praying for rain?
Because
You come up with the concept and
Yeah.
the title.
Because a lot of times people get upset or they get down when it's hard. And rain is like, people look at rain as like gloomy, as like the bad, that's like a bad day when it rains, right? So the bad days are actually the days that you need, because if you didn't have those bad days, you wouldn't appreciate the good things when they come. I feel like in business, it's like you're just moving from one bad thing to the next, but in the middle is so many great things. But those bad days are like the inspiration, that's the lesson that you learn about what you need to do and how you need to go to the next point. So everything that you go through now is preparing you for something that you're gonna end up encountering later. And you don't know it, because that's just how life works, but you need those days. So I used to get down on myself when I had bad days, and then it kind of dawned on me that you don't deter from that. Like, don't shy away from those experiences, those lessons. It may hurt in the time, but it's something better. It's a reason for it, So I felt like there's plenty of times where I felt like it's the best time of my life and the worst time of my life at the same time. At the time that everything is going great, there's always devils and things that's happening to attack me and to bring me down, but they all come together for me to continue to be successful. So that was the reason for the name Pray for Rain.
one of the things that really caught my attention in your story was how you said, hey, I didn't have the money. I didn't necessarily know A, B, and C things that I thought I needed to know, but you found them. How and where did you find all of these resources and funders and more unconventional ways to solve these problems that you clearly had identified?
Well, I started looking directly for that. Like, I would go online and research funding with bad credit or no money down, because a lot of banks want you to have at least 10%. I even went to the Small Business Administration, even though they've helped me with things like, they helped me with more essays type stuff, like my business plan, but I already had a business plan, so I didn't need help with that. Or they would help me with marketing, but I'm not even open yet to market. So I just started looking up different things that I could get funding for, or ways that I could get funding without needing a credit score to be really high, or without needing collateral, because at that time I didn't have it. Like I said, Rising Tide was the first organization to kind of introduce me to different things, and then from there that's when crowdfunding came about. That was during the time when crowdfunding first came out. I remember the first crowdfunding website was Indiegogo and Kickstarter, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I signed up for Indiegogo because Kickstarter was based off of, you had to have a specific niche, and I didn't fit into one of those niches. So I went on to Indiegogo, I ran a campaign, I remember it was for $90,000. In the beginning I didn't raise that, I only ended up raising $2,500, but still that went towards a goal. And what was great about that, again, is like I said, I didn't have the support from the people that I knew. Even though it was like you can donate as much as $1, people still would not do it. So I had to really promote what I was doing. I had to link up with agencies that cared about hair loss. So I got introduced to the American Cancer Society, the Lupus Foundation of New Jersey, those types of organizations I linked up with. I told them about what I was doing, and they were willing to like say, hey, what, did you try this? Did you try that? So that's how I initially got my juices flowing. The crowdfunding campaigns, the second one I did was with Kiva, and I raised $5,000 with that one. And then Intersect Fund is a nonprofit organization. They don't go by your credit. They just need you to have a business plan and other business things that you had to have in place. You had to show how you was going to do it, what your objective was, and all these things. So I got the $7,500 from them, and then ultimately I did come across an investor who had a family member who had lupus. So she was touched by what I was doing, and she invested $10,000. So I got it here and there, piece by piece. And then when I got open, I had to figure out, because I'm still working in the arrears once I'm open. I still don't have the money, the 6 months of rent and all that stuff that you're supposed to have if you're a business owner. So I had to do other things, like couldn't afford marketing. So Yelp was is my best friend because a lot of people don't know about Yelp. They're not on Yelp, but I use Yelp, and that's where most of my clientele come from. The other thing is that I knew having a website was really, really important. A lot of salons don't have websites. They don't have an online presence. So I made sure that that was the first thing I did. I had a website where people could at least see my information. I made sure that my search engine optimization words were on point. So when you Google, I get people who email me from California, from Massachusetts, all types of places, because I come up in their search results when they're searching for a salon that caters to hair loss. So it's just different things. I found people who were editors at magazines, so I got features in magazines at no charge, because once they saw what I was doing, they were willing to feature me. So I'm featured in Black Enterprise magazine. I have another feature in another magazine. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name at the moment, but I just utilized things that were free to me. And I started to reach out to people and just tell them about what I was doing. And the more I did it, the more I started to get, feedback.
Thank you. Other questions from the audience?
Yeah. You said you majored in business management when you were here at Kean.
Yes.
After you left Kean, what did you do?
I
started your.
So I graduated from Kean in 2006. While I was at Kean, my junior year, I went to real estate school. So I graduated, I went to Weicker, got my real estate license. And then after I graduated from Kean, I went to cosmetology school. Because in my research, I found that in order to own a salon, you have to have a salon manager who has had their license for 3 years. So I knew that once I opened, I didn't want to have to rely on somebody to be in my business in order for it to be open. So I went to cosmetology school myself, got my license, so that now I don't need anybody there. I don't actually do the hair services, like the everyday hair services, but I do the hair loss part because I'm certified as a hair loss specialist. I have a machine that I do hair and scalp analysis, and now I'm kind of networking with dermatologists to have them send their clients to me, because a lot of people who have hair loss, they first go to a dermatologist, and dermatologists don't always know what type of alopecia it is, or sometimes they can diagnose them, but what they do is they give them steroid shots, and the steroid shots create hormones in their body. It gives them adverse effects, and they don't like it. It's painful. So instead of doing the shots, they come to me to figure out what other alternatives that I have. So what I'm trying to do at this point is connect more with dermatologists to bridge that gap, so we can kind of communicate back and forth and talk about how we can help a client, because every client that I see has come from a dermatologist, and it just doesn't make sense that we don't speak more so that we can both work together to help that client. So yeah, after Kean, I went to cosmetology school, graduated from there, and then continued to work. I was working at a day job. Currently I work for the state of New Jersey, and I've been working for them, for 5 years now. So I was working during the day, but at night I was working on my goals, my dreams.
Another question that occurred to me, being the entrepreneur and the self-starter that you clearly are, did you self-publish your book?
I did.
You did. And was there a particular service that you found to be very helpful to do that?
Create Space. I self-published my book through Create Space. Yeah, I am that type of person. I just do my research, and I just figure out what I need to do and get it done. And I have my brother. He is in the library world. He works at a library. He's helped people publish books, so he kind of advised me, like, it's better to self-publish than work with a publishing company, and then we'll just promote. We'll just do our own promotion and get out there and get my book out there. So that's what I've been doing.
Related question, if I may. You mentioned the importance for a small business in your field in particular, maybe as much or more than others, about having a website and web presence and the search engine optimization. Did you hire and engage some specialist to help you build that website, or was that something you also did yourself?
No, that I actually hired somebody, because I realized certain things you want to be right. You can't do everything yourself. You have to have that knowledge to know, like, okay, this is my field, this is what I excel in, and other things I don't. So I'm not a creative person where I can like draw and put certain things together. So I knew my logo was important, that would be the face of me. So I had someone design my logo. I paid for that. I knew that my website was going to be really, really important. It had to be a really good website. So I paid someone to do that. I actually found someone who graduated from Rising Tide, just like me, and her business was websites, and it just so happened that she's phenomenal at what she does. My website, Sheer Bliss Hair and Spa, I get compliments on it all the time, and so much so that she did this website.
Sorry.
It's okay. She did this website for me as well, which is TaneiceChavers.com.
It says no signal. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll get that back.
So yeah, but I did pay for certain things. I knew I had to pay for it, not try to do it myself. So that was one of them, my website, yeah.
Other questions? Yeah.
You mentioned the privacy of the person who goes into a salon. How does that work at your salon?
I have private rooms at my salon. Nothing is out in the open. The shampoo bowls are in the open, but we take the client from their booth to the shampoo bowl with their hair covered. And then once they lay back, then we, take the towel off their head. But even in a salon setting, I don't even like people saying me get my hair done, because, and it's not that I don't have an issue ever since, my hair grew back. It's not that, it's just that as a female and as a woman, you don't always need the people to see how you came about your look. You just want them to see the finished thing. And I know that there are other people, besides myself, who felt that way, who have no issue. So what I did was I decided the whole thing is going to be private. Initially, I had a different name for the salon. It was Heaven Your Way, which is supposed to, it just was the thought of you want to feel like you're in bliss and in heaven while you're here. But I got a lot of negative feedback from it on my crowdfunding campaign, that people felt like it sounded like a salon that you go to before you die. And the part of the reason was because of the niche, because it catered to people who had cancer or lupus. So I understood that, and I changed the name. Unfortunately, it was after I had already spent money in the promotion of the business cards and all that stuff, but I changed the name anyway, and because I figured it was beneficial to me, and yeah, and that was good.
So, I'm sorry. No, I just wanted to ask. So, how has your success been in conveying this message of time? Right? You got your real estate license in your junior year. You got your cosmetology because you understood that you needed to have it for 3 years, right? And so you put it in early. That way, when you got to where you wanted to go, right? One of the biggest obstacles are one of the biggest issues I see with a lot of people that I work with in business development is their inability to understand the time that it takes. They have a dream, they have an idea, they go to work, and in 30 days they don't see no success. They're like, okay, let me go try this instead.
Right.
Because they don't understand that sometimes, right, the idea may take 10 years or 8 years to manifest, right? And in that time, all the work that you do in the dark, right, will eventually come to light if you stay fat, if you stay fat. So how do you convey that, and how much, I think, in your audiences do you have to push that you got to stay in the game and believe that the work that you do now will benefit not tomorrow, but 5-10 years from tomorrow?
Well, that's really important, and that's something that really, you have to really push, especially with this generation that's coming now, because everything is like a microwave thing. They want it quick, fast, and in a hurry. And a lot of people are like that overnight sensation. It depends on the industry that you're in. So there's some people who can say, I want to do something. They may get a buzz on social media or on YouTube and things like that, and now they think they made it. But the issue with that, and I was actually just talking to somebody yesterday who was asking me advice on how to start a business, and she was like, I'm gonna hire somebody to do my business plan. And I'm like, that's crazy, because if you hire somebody to do your business plan, how are you gonna explain your business? Then when you go before an investor, or you go before somebody of substance that you're really trying to gain their respect from, how are you going to be able to articulate how your business is going to run itself? How are you going to make money in 5 years? What your goal is? Where your target market is coming from? You don't know these answers if you hire somebody. That means you haven't done the work, and you have to do the work yourself. So I feel as though that wait time is really, really crucial, because that time is always meant to prepare you, to get you ready for what you asked for. And that's where my spiritual part comes into play, because I'm very spiritual. I pray a lot, and I listen to a lot of sermons, and I use that to kind of keep me going. And one thing that I know for sure is God will give you, He will tell you this is what you're going to do. He will give you an answer to what you asked for, but it doesn't mean that it's going to come tomorrow. And your faith has to come into play to say, I understand that he already said yes to me. I'm already destined to have this. Now all I need to, but He's not going to give you, if God's timing doesn't meet your preparation, it's not going to work. You have to be prepared for what you asked Him to give you. So sometimes people feel like it's just not working, or sometimes they feel like, maybe it's not meant to be, or, and I felt that way at times, honestly. 8 years is a long time to keep working on the same thing over and over and over again. It was times where I left it alone and said, no, I'm not doing the salon. It's just not meant to be. But every time there was always something that brought me right back to it. And that just goes to show that then it manifests itself after I just continued to be diligent in what I was doing. So I talk to people about time and about patience and about having discernment to know what's for you is for you, and just being patient and faithful that it's going to come about. If you do your part, God will do the rest. So a lot of people don't do their part. They think that the little bit they did is enough, and it's not. A lot of times it's not enough. Business is so hard. There's so many factors that go into it. Even with my staff, I tell them all the time, I talk to them about why things need to be a certain way. And they don't understand it because they didn't get the vision. The goal, the dream was not their dream, it was mine. So sometimes I have to be a boss and I have to show and say like, okay, I understand, unfortunately you don't understand where I'm coming from, but this is what it is. Because I understand on another level that there are things that have to be in place, things that have to be done in order for the business to thrive.
Well, thank you for your information. I'm really impressed your perseverance to pursue with actually getting multiple routes and then develop your own capability and running through all different parts of your career. Actually, I'm wondering, at this time, you went through all different routes. Can you envision yourself in 5 years, in 10 years? Because you're quite different than other typical the salon owner, the business owner. You went through wrote a book already, and you actually going through the book signing and then giving the speech. What is your ultimate goal in 5 years, and including your life and your business in total? What do you plan in your life, 5 and 10 years, and maybe 20 years?
Well, currently I'm working on franchising the salon. So that's my next goal. It's not a salon out there that is doing what I'm doing at the level that I'm doing it as far as hair loss is concerned. In the last few years, salons have come out and that say they have private rooms or that they cater to people who have hair loss, because I think people think that it's a fad or it's a money maker, but it is a market for it, because like I said, a lot of people have hair loss. But if you don't have a passion for it and you're just doing it for the money aspect, then I mean, I don't see them being a competition for me. So I plan on franchising the salon within the next 5 years. I actually just had a meeting with the SBDC on Friday about the next steps for the salon, which is for me to open up a second location to show that my model works and how it works and have it all laid out. So I'm going to plan to open up a second location, hopefully by early next year, and then immediately go into franchising right after that. That's for the salon. For as far as the book is concerned, I do plan on continuing to speak to people. I'm moving more into like a motivational speaker type of role, because I feel like a lot of people need this. They need to know how to be able to start their business, how to get funding if they don't have the money, if their credit is bad. They need to understand struggle. A lot of people don't understand struggle. They think what they're going through is so big, but you have no idea what going through something it really is sometimes. Like your stuff could be very small compared to what it could be. So I want to help people to be able to manage struggle, because that's part of business, that's part of life. And if you feel like you can't do it and you shut down from the first little sign of tribulation, then you got a real issue, you got a real problem coming, and it's going to be hard to continue to grow. So some people make it with no problem. Some people, you know, they are in an environment where they are meant to